Tippy time, my damies, Topcat here, and welcome back to the channel. Today's build is about one thing: chucking as many knees in people's faces as possible. We've seen several nerfs of late. Heart of Inmost got neutered, 1-2 punch got 1.5, making bonk hammer not as viable as it once was. So I thought it time to go back to my D1 Titan ways with the aforementioned HAMMERSTUCK. We yeet ourselves forward, draping targets with scorch stacks. But where the HAMMERSTUCK is different to all other solar abilities in the game is that with one action we can trigger ignitions. And with one HAMMERSTUCK we can kill upwards of 10 to 15 enemies with one attack. With this build we can get the melee instantly refunded given the right situation, and this is due to the long lost Mk.44 standardsides. These have two functions. Firstly, these grant us an overshield whilst we are sprinting at full health. This allows for us to close that gap and charge like a bull out of the gates straight at any clown trying to mess with us. The second and more lucrative perk: hits with this melee regenerate a portion of your melee charge. Now the phrase portion may seem a bit vague. It varies on energy. I've never had below 50% of my charge returned, and sometimes it will grant you a full charge. Now we have ways of circumventing this to ensure that our melees come straight back to us, but first I want to address its damage. To turn up the heat on this, we'll be using the Roaring Flames aspect. Final blows with solar abilities or ignitions increase the damage of your solar abilities. This stacks up to 3 times. This timer gets refreshed after ability or ignition kills and goes to 20 seconds, making it an easily repeatable damage bonus. Each stack increases your outgoing damage by 25%. So to get the Roaring Flames rolling, pick a small target first to ensure that kill, and after that you're ready to hunt. Ember of Eruption, your solar ignitions, of which each HAMMERSTUCK does, will have an increased area of effect. This is the first step towards making not one, but all of your foes taste your wrath. Now also, when Lightfall happened, the subclass seemed to have lost some description and some verbiage here, but if you have Roaring Flames active, your basic melee is also imbued with solar energy. This is going to allow us to create sunspots and utilize melee mods, amongst other things. Ember of Char, your solar ignitions spread scorch to affected targets. With this you get your initial kill. This kills surrounding foes, and then their bodies create more bodies. If done the right way, you can get multiple ignitions on one single target. And the next aspect will go a long way towards that. Sol Invictus. Solar ability final blows or defeating scorch targets will create us sunspots. Now these are still pretty tasty with both offensive and defensive capabilities. While standing in there, our abilities will regenerate more quickly. These can make for a great pick-me-up in order to throw out that next ability. But also you can use these to apply scorch stacks to damage targets and eviscerate foes in your flames. We can use these tactically by placing one next to a larger target so the scorch slowly stacks up until they ignite. And while standing inside it, you're going to get restoration, allowing you to tank that damage whilst you're dealing it. You also drop one upon activation of your super. This makes for awesome panic pock moments, giving you the restoration in order to turn the tides. Your super is also going to drain slower whilst you're standing inside a sunspot. Ember of Searing, defeating scorch targets grants us melee energy. So this way, every time we scorch with our melee, we're getting back melee energy. Stack this together with that of the standardsides, and this can return your melee in full. To get that melee back, I find 3 kills with scorch is the magic number. Also, any scorch affected kills will create a fire sprite. Collecting these will give us grenade energy. Searing also works with the scorch from our grenades, so you can fast track your melee charge by yeeting out a grenade and scorching targets. Ember of Blistering is the same but in reverse. Defeating targets with solar ignitions grants grenade energy. So now we have a cool situation similar to that of Heart of Inmost Light, where our grenades make melees and our melees make grenades. And the grenade we're going to be using is the Firebolt. Just yeet it out and it'll find the targets for you. From a tactical standpoint, this grenade synergizes really well with the Mk.44s. It's kind of like Yondu's dart in Guardians of the Galaxy, where you're singly minded on that shoulder charge kill. So I just want to drop out that grenade to clear the runway and charge my melee. But thanks to flare up in the artifact, firebolts got dialed up. These have gone from a low scorch to a medium scorch, making them either the catalyst or the trigger for a big bada boom ignition. Additionally, if damaging a target with a firebolt grenade spawns a fire sprite, not on a kill, just by damaging to help fuel that ensuing grenade spam. Rain of firebolts will grant us a second grenade charge. With 100 discipline, this grenade has a 31-second cooldown, but we will be pumping them up much faster than that. Honestly, with just the sunspots alone, the cooldown's already quick. Stack that with fire sprites, stack again with Ember of Blistering, and now we are cooking. But let's see if we can take that just one step further. For our mods, we gotta start with the Shattered Orbs. This will feed us orbs on the first shield break of a matching subclass. This also works with both weapons and abilities. On our helmet, we're going to run a Siphon mod to match our primary ammo weapon or predominant weapon. I'm actually matching this with my heavy currently, as all miners and mages have been just falling to the flames of my knee. So I spec towards my heavy, the Caretaker. It has been taking care of business and Overload champs. I originally designed this build with the hopes of running the conditional finality with it, because of its ignition trait. Unfortunately, I have yet to acquire it, so I've actually been using the Shappy. And whilst it's not what I wanted, thanks to the kinetic buff, it's actually been putting out some work, particularly against Tormentors. Anyway, back to the mods. Heavy Handed is going to be creating orbs for us on melee kills. This is our most common orb we are creating, and will be the main source of our mod system. Followed by Firepower, our grenade final blows also create an orb power. This is a tad overkill, I will admit. I'm already making enough orbs. If you want a loader or dexterity mod, you could swap this out. Personally, I like the extra orbs. I'll explain why shortly. We're going to be using one stacks on stacks mod on our legs to grant us a second armor charge per orb we pick up. Pair this with Solar Surge, which will give us an armor charge when we collect a fire sprite. With this, we will hit our ideal armor charge of 3 stacks easily and repeatably. And the first part of all this orb juice goes to feed our 1 grenade kickstart mod. This, together with all our other cooldowns, is just straight crazy. I've often had to double take the charge bar as I've just carpet bombed an entire arena and still got a charge to throw more. And more nades means more orbs, and thanks to our invigoration mods, of which I'm double stacking, all I see from these orbs is just free melees sitting on the floor. That orb over there, dead Cabal. That orb over there, dead Taken. That orb over there, stunned Unstop. You can sub one out for surges in situations like boss battles, but at standard play, invigoration is definitely the go. I got a similar situation on my bum towel. Double outreach is a good insta charge and can feed you back that melee when you need it, as sometimes that killing just can't wait. If there's something you like a bit more on your class item, feel free to use it. Our class item is a little bit of a dealer's choice. I'm double stacking Concussive Dampener. Being that we are turning ourselves into a flaming locomotive, we are going to take a little abuse. I'm running 100 resilience, but I still find the dampeners are required after the stat nerf. Proximity Ward is also a nice cheap mod for some bonus safety whilst doing finishes. And how could we not be using hands-on? I've double stacked, you don't need to. But being that this build is literally pouring out a metric shit ton of Hammerstrucks, it seems silly not to do so. It does really help, as Solar Titan supers have some of the longest charges in the game. Dealer's choice for your supers, as this build is all about the melee. When Lightfall dropped this was the first build I ran, but I needed to wait until I'd unlocked the firebolts in the artifact to unleash its full potential. It feels so brutal, and it's been a wonder going back to my D1 roots. I'll make sure to leave a dim in the description below. Thumb it if you liked it. If you got any questions or suggestions, feel free to leave a comment down below. And as always, tippy tie my damies, what a tie.